Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
Welcome to another episode of the InsideIIM Career Podcast. You know, a lot of people make this claim that they understand this country. I believe that there are certain businesses, people who work in those businesses understand this country slightly better than a lot of other academicians, politicians, professors who claim to understand this country. And someone who runs a nationwide retail business understands this country at a very local level across the length and breadth of this country. And that is why I really admire people who are in the retail business, because they really get what this country is about. One of those people sitting here next to me is Mayank. So welcome to the InsideIIM Career Podcast.
Pleasure. We have fashion and food retail formats. We have Westside, Zudio and Landmark. These are the formats on the fashion side. Landmark over a period of time has evolved from books to now a mix of music, books and sports. But still there's a bit of fashionable athleisure products that we have in Landmark. Westside predominantly speaking, it's a departmental store where we own almost 22 brands, and those brands cater to almost every part of the society. And Zudio is really a version of fashion. For example, all the merchandise in Zudio is below 999, which I think is a fabulous proposition. Apart from these, we also have financial stake in Zara, and we have a food format which is Star Bazaar, through which we are present across Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad and Bangalore, and also a few stores in Gujarat.
Some of your retail formats are constantly on expansion sprees. There's always a new store popping up somewhere. India is a story of growth, and smaller towns see newer stores opening every day. So how does Westside, or even your other brands like Star Bazaar, etc., go about picking locations, saying that okay, this is where we are going to open a store?
You have a lot of things to really look after, and that's why you will see that many a times people make claims that you should always have stores at a corner, or you should have always stores at the front of the mall. But you will not find any fashion format, for that matter, or any retail format having the same kind of stores everywhere. So they have a variety across the country. So we do look at a lot of things. One of the things is catchment. The other is obviously the location. We also look at our existing presence in the same area, and then finally all that needs to add up into the financial model. One of the key things is also the layouts, which we brainstorm a lot upon. What happens to all these 4-5 things and the discussions that we do on these aspects is that the experience of the people around the table really comes out. You need to be able to imagine the tweaks that you can make to the location, to the structure, to perhaps the financials. You may need to go back to the developer and renegotiate on certain aspects just to make it viable.
Where do you see the larger fast fashion industry going from here? We have a lot of international brands coming in to India. We have a lot of our own homegrown brands. The e-commerce space is exploding. A lot of people are choosing to not go to the store and actually just pick it up on the e-commerce sites. So what are some of the trends that you see emerging in terms of fast fashion? And to begin with, if you could just define for our viewers what fast fashion is, and then get us into that.
Fast fashion obviously is a concept which has been pioneered in the Western world, and then it has flown to the other parts of the globe. It makes fashion very affordable. It makes people look good. So it is here to stay. Feeling good is one of the core necessities of every human being. You may do it in various ways. Wearing the right cloth and feeling good about it is one of the ways of expressing yourself. So as long as the need to express yourself is there, I think the fashion industry will grow, fast fashion will grow. And a lot of global retailers have already announced long-term plans. Everyone is really looking at ways, means through which they can bring in sustainability into the business.
I'm wearing chunky sneakers, for example. How do chunky sneakers start from the ramps? How are they picked up? What is the process in terms of getting a designer to create merchandise around that, and then putting it in the store and then seeing how it is doing in the store?
To get the speed right and to catch the trend is really at the heart of it. And
So
it's
what's the
more
tag
an
like?
artistic exercise than a scientific exercise. You need to have that sense of that creative sense of what might sell. That may not just come from ramps. Ramps is of course where the fast fashion started from, but it may also come by simply observing people in malls. So you see a lot of people you see what they're wearing.
Also pop
You
culture, right? Like if
pop
Justin Bieber
culture.
is wearing something,
Absolutely.
that becomes a big deal.
So you have to be aware of your surroundings, and you have to pick up the right cues. What is it that is gaining traction? And that is an artistic exercise. You cannot capture it in numbers. You cannot scientifically do a regression analysis on all these trends, and which all of us engineers are very happy with always. What the result that comes out will be good if you have done the art bit of it well.
You were an engineer at BITS Pilani and then you did your MBA at XLRI. So can you take us through those initial years, what it was like? What were some of the things that you picked up that are helping you today?
I really think my formative years were at Pilani, where you have a lot of a culture of quite a bit of electives, so that lets you experiment a bit. And a lot of me and a lot of my friends especially, we were in a group who just went to a college because we got a certain marks, and that certain number of marks qualified for a particular branch. So you pick that up, you go, and we really didn't have that kind of an exposure at that point in time. Then you join a college with an MBA at XLRI, so there the mix of people, it's very eclectic, and all these people have been some of the best performers in their past life already. So you get to push yourself and you get to learn a lot from them. By the end of it, I just wanted to experiment a bit more and continue on the general management path. In fact, that's how I decided on TAS. So I really think the years at Pilani and the push that I got at XLRI kind of have framed up what I am today.
So you've been at TAS for like 6-7 years now. You've taken up a bunch of roles, varied roles over the years, and now you are at Trent. So take us through the journey which brought you finally to Trent.
I had my eyes set on TAS by the end of my engineering in Pilani, because I pretty much knew that I wanted to be as close to business as possible, but I wanted to learn the many parts of business. Tata Group is really committed to the value system that it has created. The stints that we got to do in our Tata trusts, they really show you the work that a lot of these trusts have done in every nook and corner of the country. The legacy that you see, the work that you see really humbles you. So that's a part of the reason why you choose Tatas also,
right?
Because the value system of the Tata Group is quite unique. So I started in sales in Tata Chemicals in the East India. You have spans of around 13 states there. So obviously it's a very wide geography, and it's quite a daunting role in that sense, but obviously a great learning. After that, I moved to the category management role, where we were actually in the process of coming up with the new brand, which is now called Tata Sampann. So I got to work a lot on the brand architecture of Tata Sampann, and then the new product portfolio mix for the Tata Sampann, which is still getting launched. It's been getting launched for a long time. Worked on more than 200 concepts, product concepts, which we selected around 44 of those. 20 of those we converted into prototypes. We did qualitative and quantitative testings, and finally we chose some of them to launch, around 5 of them. For every product concept, and because this is a very initial stage, you need to think about how relevant it is, how differentiated it is, and finally, is it value or not overall. Between these three things, consumer gets a reason to believe on what you are saying.
You are Chief of Staff to the Chairman of Trent Limited. A lot of people pick up these kinds of roles, executive assistants, chief of staff kind of roles, to the CEO, to the chairman of big companies after their MBA, and often students find it very confusing. Aren't there secretaries to do that kind of a job? Why would an MBA earning X lakhs of salary want to do something like this, and what are the benefits of this kind of picking up this kind of a role early in your career? So can you throw light on what are the kind of work you do, and why do you think this is something that works for you at this stage of your career?
Chief of Staff is a role which involves, I think, largely 3 things. One is project management, second is assisting the chairman, and third is the office management part of it. For example, if growing quickly is a priority in this particular year, which it's been for Trent in the last particular year, So opening new stores is important. Opening new stores which are right stores is even more important.
Right.
So ensuring that all those variables come into, whether it's a property review discussion, whether it's a business review discussion, do you have enough people, enough capability, are you delivering, are you on track? It's a constant process. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen without planning. And because there are so many stakeholders involved, there's a lot of churn in the information. Also because there are so many reviews, there's a lot of churn in information. And as I explained to you earlier, each property is a debate in itself.
Right.
So on each property you have all those churns, and then to select 100 properties of those kind is a great learning experience.
So then this month, say there are 20 property launches happening,
Right.
there will be months like that, right? Maybe a month before Diwali
Yes,
will be that
absolutely.
kind of a month, for example.
Absolutely.
So then at that time, you have 20 property decisions happening parallelly, where you get into one meeting where you are doing a discussion on one particular property, you're having a business discussion, then you get into another meeting where you're having a merchandise discussion about some other property. Is that how that works?
Pretty much. So you have to be very organized. You have to be very organized.
Okay.
There is a gated process. Obviously, a property which has not been approved will not go into fit out stage.
Right.
If it's been approved, there's a set of decisions to be taken before it moves into the fit out stage. If it moves into the fit out stage, there's a certain timeline, certain number of activities that the project teams need to deliver. So you need to continuously keep a track of it. There are constant trackers which you have to keep opening. And I think one of the key things that you learn in an MBA is how to look at the most important information from the load of data that is thrown at you. So you get to practice that.
Right.
And you need to learn on the go that for which property, for which project, what is the most important thing. So this is just one example that I am saying. The second bit is assisting the chairman,
Right.
which mainly involves two kind of activities. One is you are constantly at the vantage point of all the communication lines. So you need to be abreast of the situation, and you need to be effective in managing that. Second, which was in the beginning a very new thing for me, was a lot of speech writing.
Speech writing.
Yeah, a lot of speech writing. So you get to all these events, places.
Press conferences,
Yes,
all those
yeah.
things.
I mean AGMs. I mean there could be any sorts of events.
You handle all the communication that goes out from the chairman's desk. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that, because it seems like a very scary thing to take responsibility of such an important thing. So how do you go about doing that?
So it takes a little bit of time to get used to it and to become good at it. I've been through my own journey, and I think I still am getting better at it. So one of the things that you learn over a period of time is being organized in your own mind, and how that clarity transfers into whatever you write.
Right.
The other thing that I guess what I've learned is to keep it simple, and to keep listening, because only when you keep listening, all the things that are going around you, you can recall the most important thing when you are finally writing down.
The XLRI grad who entered the Tata ecosystem and the XLRI grad who stands today right now, how have you grown in the last 7 years? What are some of the things in which, some of the aspects in which you transformed as a professional here at TAS?
I think as a professional, I have got an opportunity to try different things, which has made me a more well-rounded person. When I started out, I was a deep finance person. My first role was in sales. Then I did marketing. Though I got a PPO from a private equity stint at Tata Capital. But the subsequent experiences were as poles apart as it could be.
It feels like a lot of professionals don't have time to pursue any of their interests or passions beyond work. The really good professionals still find time and space to pursue whatever else they want to, and they bring that kind of knowledge and that kind of expertise into their mainline job as well later on. So what's it like for you? What are some of the things that you pursue beyond your work?
I have been a defense kid, so sports activities have always played a role in my childhood. I am a big time into reading, and which as a corollary, it has resulted in me getting into writing also.
Okay.
So I've recently kind of finished my book also, first book, which is into editing right now.
Which direction do you see your career going from here? What are some of the things within TAS that excite you, that you might want to take up once you are done with this stint of yours?
So for now, the throughput in my current role is so high that I am still focusing on just that. Going forward, I would certainly remain in the consumer and retail space, and it will largely depend on the opportunity that comes up.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mayank, for doing this with us. We really appreciate this. Some of the insights that Mayank has given us about the retail sector, how properties are picked up, how you build a profitable retail business are really valuable. Understanding how the consumer works, how the consumer makes decisions, some of the things that you mentioned about the whole launch of Tata Sampann were really valuable. Handling a big guy's office, a chairman's office, and running projects and managing the office and internal stakeholders and external communication is some really large pieces of responsibility that you handle, and we appreciate you bringing those out today for us. Thanks a lot, Mayank. That's all for now at the InsideIIM Career Podcast. Thank you so much.